Thanks, I guess. Thank you guys for sticking around. Like you said, I'm a stand-up comic, so I'm used to telling jokes, but I was very excited to do a storytelling show. This is actually my first storytelling show. So I wanted to make sure that I came prepared. So what I did with the theme of nostalgia is I wrote an essay. So I sat down at my laptop and I printed out 5 pages, and I'm ready for you today, guys. Don't worry, it's double-spaced at 16 font. It'll go like that. Don't worry. Webster's Dictionary defines nostalgia as a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or place with happy personal associations. However, I would argue that nostalgia is an unrealistic romanticizing of the past used as a coping mechanism for the unhappiness we feel in the present moment. Yeah. Why should we trust Webster's Dictionary anyway, guys? Just because you were a cute black kid on an 80s sitcom doesn't mean you get to tell me what everything means, you know? I may be a little biased, though. See, I'm addicted to nostalgia. In fact, I've on multiple occasions used the phrase, nostalgia is quicksand. To be fair, though, I'd say a lot of things are quicksand. Last night I was talking to one of my buddies about his girl problems, and I kept saying over and over again, bruh, pussy is quicksand. Speaking of quicksand, has anyone ever actually seen quicksand? There were 3 things I was afraid of when I was a little kid. Number 1 was quicksand. Number 2, lava. Number 3, getting roofied by a girl whose Tinder pictures didn't look anything like her. In hindsight, I should have only been afraid of one of those. I won't tell you which one, but let's just say I've never seen quicksand and I've never been to Hawaii. Yeah, that's actually real. It's a different story, though. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, that's right. Nostalgia. Let me elaborate on my nostalgia as quicksand theory. I came into the show trying to come with a sentimental story. I considered telling the tale of the day I got my driver's license and drove to Madison, Wisconsin to see Chris Farley's mausoleum. I considered reminiscing about the good times I had with my best friend since 4th grade, whose wedding I'll be the best man at in a couple weeks. I even considered recalling the time I lost my virginity on Pearl Harbor Day in 2008. Also my great-grandmother's birthday. I tried to write those things down, and I even started working on each of those separately, but my heart led me elsewhere, so here we go. I'm sure we've all had bad experiences. We've all had bad breakups or bad things that have happened to us, and one time I lived with this girl for 3 years, and then we broke up. I stayed in that apartment for another month and a half while she progressively moved her stuff out, single carloads at a time. I would literally come home from work and notice that a different end table or kitchen appliance was missing. This happened a couple times a week for that month and a half. Each time it occurred, it felt like a different piece of my life was getting ripped from my insides. I don't think many of you could say that you got choked up when you couldn't find your missing Foreman grill. But it happened to me. I know what you're thinking, Brad, this seems a little cynical. And I hear you. I'm a little skeptical of being cynical myself. Mostly because being cynical can become cyclical, and once it becomes cyclical, you may need some help, whether it be clinical or medicinal. That's why my advice to you would be, if you're going to be cyclical about being cynical, I would say that it's critical to keep it at the minimal. Excuse me for just a second. Hello? Okay. Sorry, that was just Dr. Seuss, and he says I'm a fucking asshole. Typical Dr. Seuss. Back to the topic at hand. I like to live my life in the past. As the great Kanye West once said, my life is dope and I do dope shit. I've gotten to do some amazing things in my life and be surrounded by some amazing people. The flip side of that, though, is what would otherwise be a good thing, is that all these great experiences eventually go away. To quote the great Maya Angelou, this dope shit too shall pass. To summarize that, basically I'm saying I'm proud of the accomplishments that I had a long time ago. I love numerous people that no longer associate with me, and I think back fondly at moments in my life that are long gone and can no longer be relived. My favorite song ever is Heard 'Em Say, which brings us to my second Kanye West mention in the last 2 minutes. My favorite line in that song are actually at the beginning of verse 2. They say people in your life are seasons, and anything that happens is for a reason. A fun little side note, that is actually the first 2 lines of the second verse on the second track of his second solo album. So I'm not sure if that means anything to you guys, but The Rock is still alive. So what does he mean when he says people in your life are seasons and everything that happens is for a reason? Here's my interpretation. People come and go. Some people will only be with you for a short amount of time, but that doesn't detract from the impact they are allowed to make on you. I found that some of my biggest moments of self-realization have actually come from people that were only part of my life for a brief period. And on the contrary, I've known many people my whole life who have had very little impact on me at all. I tend to get sad when I look back on things that I don't have anymore. I feel like a part of me is missing, I suppose. I'm trying to get better at it. Because despite the tone of this whole piece, believe it or not, I'm a pretty optimistic guy. I'm also a problem solver, so if being nostalgic is causing pain in my life, I'll be sure to fix it. So lately, I've been going out of my way to face whatever pain I could feel. Hell, if I didn't eventually face my feelings, I wouldn't be able to use a Foreman grill to this day. That'd be silly though, right? That'd be silly. Could you imagine life without a Foreman grill? Could you imagine life without your favorite song that you and your old friend who hasn't talked to you since you started dating your ex used to listen to together? Could you imagine not eating peanut butter cookies with Hershey Kisses in the middle because your aunt who passed away used to make them every Christmas? Could you imagine never watching Shark Tank again because that's what you and your ex-girlfriend used to do together on your nights off? Of course not. In my recent dating scenarios, I've had a string of almost long-term situations. Ultimately, though, I've struggled with a general inability to be emotionally vulnerable and communicative in a long-term relationship due to the fear of being hurt or a general anxiety about being looked at as not masculine by my partner. In other words, I'm not dealing with my past, and therefore letting it affect me here and now is also going to affect my potential future. Life is short, guys. I beg you to listen to The Pursuit of Happiness while you whip up a steak on your Foreman grill for your new love interest. Then eat that steak while you watch Shark Tank. And when you're done, have peanut butter Hershey cookies for dessert while you tell her all about your aunt and how caring of a human being she was and how she still affects you on a daily basis. Live life and learn from it. Carry your experiences with you and make the people that have affected your life proud of the impact that they've had on you. Nostalgia may be quicksand, and that's inevitable, but that doesn't mean run. In fact, trying to move while you're in quicksand is a really bad idea because it'll suck you right in. Go with it and relax. Pussy, on the other hand, may not be quicksand because I would absolutely recommend moving around while you're in the middle. Thank you guys.
2, 3. Hi, buds. Come on now.